Don't look at me like that.
Sorry.
I did 6 weeks of no drinking. Whoop. And Pubkey broke me. I owe Michael Malice dinner.
Could be worse. It's a good place to break it.
Yeah.
Some would say the best.
Do you know what? I woke up this morning tired and hungover. I was like, this is why I stopped drinking. It was so hard. Like, I've been pretty good. I was really good when we were away last time.
Yep.
Didn't drink once. And then first couple of nights, I'm like, no, you guys stay out party. I'll go back to the hotel. I'll go chill. I'll go watch some Happy Valley. And then it was too hard, man. Everyone's drinking. My buddy Cody came in. I met Cody in Vegas. This is a brilliant story, by the way.
Cody who?
Sure, I don't even know his surname. That's the funny thing.
Aren't you going to be his best man?
Yeah, I'm now his best man. Yeah. I met him. So I go to Vegas. It was like 2019, World CryptoCom or some bullshit, 2018. And there's like people all over Vegas, crypto people. And people keep coming up to me and saying, hey, Cody. And I'm like, what? I'm Pete. And they're like, hey, Cody. All right, Cody. It's like, no, I'm Pete. And it was my birthday while I was there. It was my 40th. So it was 4 years ago. And Wendy, do you know Wendy?
Wendy.
Crypto Wendy.
Crypto Wendy, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to organize a birthday party for you. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went to this birthday party, and this guy comes up to me and says, oh, no, I'm Wendy's with some guy. And I got up to him, and I was like, oh, hi, how you doing? He's like, yeah, cool. I was like, what's your name? He's like, Cody. I was like, what? I was like, dude, everywhere I've been, people keep saying, hey, Cody. He's like, what's your name? I was like, Pete. He's like, everywhere I go, people keep saying, hi, Pete. I've got a picture. I've got to dig this picture out. We're identical at the time. We're literally identical. And so I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and he came in, and I'm sat at the bar, and he's like, what are you drinking? Like, he literally came up behind me and gave me a hug. He's like, I haven't seen you in ages, Pete. He's like, what are you drinking? I was like, I couldn't have a fucking sparkling water. So I'm hungover. It's your fault.
I'm sorry. We do our best here. It's a hard bar to leave. You at least got out of there relatively early. It's sort of that like casino mentality where like you time warp. You're like getting ready to go, wrap things up around 11:30, and it's just like 3.
What's the license until?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we have a 4 a.m. and then it's 2 a.m. The rest of the way. And in the pre-times before COVID, this was a much later city. Like it hasn't quite come back yet with those like 2, 3, 4 a.m. hours, which I think is a good thing. Luckily, I don't do the late shifts. I'm more of the day shift at Pubkey. I work on my other company in the back of the bar and take deliveries as they come in. But that late shift, it gets weird. It's a different scene.
Good staff as well, man.
Yeah, they're fantastic. The entire team that we've been able to pull together really makes all this something special. We throw a lot of different looks at people. We got good food. You be the judge. I don't like bragging about any of this shit.
Dude, the food's epic. I've had a smash burger every day.
Yeah.
I think I'll have one before we leave.
100%.
They're so good. Actually, that chicken thing we're just
The chicken sandwich is my favorite.
Which one?
The one with like the
katsu.
katsu.
The katsu? Yeah. That's really good. Yeah.
And the waffle fries with the cheese dip.
Yep.
It's so good.
Bar food. Dive bar food.
It's not dive bar food, dude. That's not dive bar food. It's too good.
Everything is better than it should be.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like we can't really call ourselves a dive bar, right? Because it's like a new bar and we're throwing a lot better quality than a dive bar would typically have, but at least have that feel and have everything be better than it ought to be is sort of the ethos.
And Dave is from the same part of Ireland as my dad.
That was hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave's great.
Did you hear that?
No.
So whenever I'm like, hear an Irish accent, I'm like, oh, my dad lives in Ireland. They're like, where is he? I'm like, he's in Donegal, and they're always from like Dublin or something. But my dad's from Laois. That's where he grew up. And he's like, I'm from Laois. I was like, fucking hell, my dad grew up in Abbey Leaks. He's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Obviously,
That's
a good
great.
man.
You got to have an Irish bartender in a New York bar.
And he's like a neighborhood like stalwart. Like he's been at a lot of other bars in the neighborhood. He just knows like West Village bar culture, like, extremely well. He's
Musician.
Yeah, he's been with us since the beginning. He also bartends over at Arthur's Tavern. Arthur's Tavern was a COVID casualty, but it's like a blues jazz bar that's been around forever. And then they cleaned it up, reopened, and now it's sort of like slightly more elevated cocktails and stuff like that, but just nice to have it back and not lose all of these things to, the last couple of years.
A lot of bars got lost here, right?
Oh, a ton. And mostly dive bars. Mostly those like family owned like places that have been around for, 30, 40, 50 years. Real like institutions have fallen off, especially in like the East Village, where you had some of them hanging on a little bit longer than, maybe they were able to because of gentrification, things like that. Neighborhoods change. But yeah, COVID and a lot of the policies sort of were the final nail in the coffin here for a lot of businesses.
Yeah. It's very cool, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I saw it I told you I'm buying a bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
No, I'm definitely doing it.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done by far.
I mean, I've done a lot of hard things. Run a football team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the football team has a bar in it, but I'm actually buying a bar. So anyone listen, I'm literally buying a bar.
I compare it to Bitcoin mining. It's very rewarding if things go well. There's about 1 million different ways you can kill yourself, or just like, something catches on fire, God forbid. It's extremely difficult, but when it works, it's very, very rewarding. Like last night, for example, people coming out for your show, there were some like real old guard Bitcoiners that had come in and, saw it for the first time. And that was a very special moment. Like the rip with Junsith was fantastic. So the highs are very high, I would say. But then you also have to deal with all the other shit, the liquor license and, the neighbors and, every little thing that can go wrong typically does. And it can be a lot.
Do you get a lot of shit from the neighbors?
No, on the whole, they really like us. We cleaned up the block. So this is, a bit of a shadier block post-COVID. We got people from the park. So having a business that's open and open late has really changed, I think, the neighborhood quite a bit for the positive. And I think most of the neighbors are very appreciative of that, which is also a good feeling. Like not just the Bitcoin community coming in and having those conversations with folks I've been talking to for like a decade, having, other bars, restaurants, hospitality industry come in, neighbors, West Village coming in. It's also like a very cool like mix to throw together. Hospitality plus Bitcoin has like, its own thing.
Okay, prepare me.
Yeah.
What am I not ready for?
Oh my God. You have a pretty thick skin, right? I mean, having a podcast, I feel like you already are prepared to receive, criticism and feedback in a way that was far more advanced than what I had going into this.
Dude, it's like leather, the skin.
That's good. I don't have that yet. It's callousing at the moment, I would say. But it's just like it's everything. It's everything. It's like 1 million different things can go wrong. It could be like the air conditioning. It could be the ice machine. Like we're on our 4th trash collection company. Like it's never ending. Also, like New York is going through a little bit of a labor shortage. So staffing has been quite difficult. It's people management. It's people management within the company. It's people management when they come into the bar. And, you're always on. I feel like, have you seen I think it was Rocky Balboa. It's like Rocky 6. When he's a bit older and the kid's in like finance or something and he's whining, like finance is hard. But he goes to the Italian-American restaurant. He's like the maitre d', he puts on the red blazer. He's like, hey, how you doing? How's your mother? Like that's basically my role here.
I tell you, it's the same with the football club. Everything goes wrong. The electrics break. So we had to get the electrician in. The toilets flooded. So we had to get somebody to fix the toilets. One of the fucking steps broke on the way in. Like shit's always breaking.
Have you had one of the baby wipe islands yet?
The what?
Like the Greasebergs or whatever. I was listening to it was like Economist or something talking about the plumbing woes of the UK.
It's a London problem, that is. Yeah. Do you know about this?
No, I've never heard of
this.
So
basically, they get these like it's like a grease bug. Basically, all the shit that the sewers in London aren't designed for collects together, and it's like nappies, diapers for Americans, nappies, wet wipes, grease, fat that gets poured down the sink, and it all ends up getting like clogged up and build up, and it becomes like an iceberg within the sewers. So somebody has to go out and like.
I have seen like people in like scuba suits.
Grim, absolutely grim.
Yeah. Be thankful.
Everything.
At least you're not suiting up for that every day.
Everything. I'll tell you, even worse with the football club is things like, you get ready for a game. You've got everyone lined up. You've got the program made, printed.
Yeah.
You've got all your stock in, and you wake up in the morning and it's cold and the pitch is frozen and the game's cancelled.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
And you have to deal with that. Dealing with people, dealing with the team, and manage. I'm used to it. Football club is the hardest thing I've ever done. I expect a bar to be easier.
It's not going to be. It's not. I think you should still do it because I think you'd be very good at it. It fits very well. Like, we were talking about it just in terms of having sort of like that physical third place, right? And you did this already sort of with the football club, having, Bitcoin not be the identity of something else, but embedded in the DNA of, a bar, a restaurant, a football club, like you name it. Like these things are pretty important. So, Bitcoin Park has done a very good job with this, the Commons. I think the more relatable we make Bitcoiners to people that otherwise would not engage in that conversation.
We're not freaks.
Yeah, exactly.
We are.
Exactly. No, come on in and have a beer. We might be weird, but like, have you had conversations at 3 a.m. in New York? Everybody's weird.
Yeah.
We're just more relatable than we are on like Twitter and Reddit when we're, when there's, I guess, a little bit of like social lubricant involved.
Well, this bar and buy-in's already successful, right?
We've been very fortunate, and it's the team. It's, Chef, it's the other partners, like it's the staff, the whole crew has made this. So like when we entered, when we were getting close to opening back in November, that was sort of like right after the real collapse, the last like final one that we're still dealing with FTX, fallout and everything. So a lot of the, Bitcoin companies and everybody else tangential to the industry sort of have, gone into survival mode. So we were thinking that this was going to be more content forward, more sponsorship forward, more like, marketing, that sort of thing. And the bar and the kitchen was going to be sort of that like, vessel that, houses everything. So we completely flipped the script and actually focused on, operations for the bar and kitchen being more than just that like loss leader or like, self-sustaining. And it's been great. Like we have gotten way more support as just a New York bar that does some Bitcoin stuff than, the opposite. We still host Bitcoin events and those are extremely well attended, but it's really the combination of the two that has gone really well so far. So hopefully we can keep it up.
It's having that space, man. Like I say, this bar and buy-in's already very successful.
Yeah.
And it opens a couple of days a week.
Yeah.
It's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but the main trade is Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many things I've got coming up where I think I can use it. I've got our event on the 15th. Well, after that's done, it's like, hey, let's all go to my bar.
Yeah.
That I could do it on the Friday night. I can host meetups. There's so many things I can do.
Yeah.
Where I need a space, and now I've got a space. And while the space is being used, it's going to generate money.
Yep.
So
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And then,
but it's also a need, right? If people are coming through town, if people want to learn about Bitcoin.
People aren't coming through Bedford.
Well, not yet. We got to get up a couple of leagues first, and then it's going to get better.
True.
We're going to get there. I'm very proud of, I'm a big Bedford supporter. It's very cool what you've done with the club.
Man, fucking defeat the other day, though.
It wasn't great. The Captain Morgan goof at the very end, just like was,
I feel so sorry
suboptimal.
For him. Yeah, I feel he's so young, our keeper.
He's great.
He's like 20 years old or 18 or whatever. I just felt sorry for him, but he'll bounce back.
Of course.
He's a good goalkeeper.
Of course.
Puts the pressure back on us, though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be all right.
Yes.
I'm optimistic.
6 points clear, 13 games to go.
I'm a Roma fan, so I'm used to things just being a catastrophic failure at the end.
How are you a Roma fan?
I have family in Pescara, right around, and I lived in Rome for a little bit, and that was just my like de facto club. I never had like a good enough link to a Premier League club, right? So my brother-in-law is a big like Tottenham Spurs fan.
What a dick.
But it's like the same, yeah, exactly. But it's basically the same club as Roma. I can't have two of those in my life. Like it's not like you're set up to do something, and then you find a really creative way to fuck it up.
Hold on, Roma win trophies though.
It's been rough.
Didn't they win they won one of the European trophies with Mourinho?
It was like the Conference League or whatever.
I don't know. It's a trophy.
It was the third one.
Tottenham would take it.
I think Tottenham was in that. It was in that Conference League or whatever.
They'll probably take the under 12s. They'll take any trophy. Yeah, they won it under Mourinho, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I'm having a look.
Yeah, they won one. And we dropped a game against who is it in the Europa? Salzburg, maybe. Red Bulls.
Would you consider the bar a hobby?
Yeah, it's a side project. So I work mostly in mining.
Yeah.
I'm on the board of Stronghold Digital Mining. My company, Hash Function, focuses on hash rate market infrastructure development so that we can design, I would say, risk management products for mining operations so they can hedge like volatility risks. That's been sort of my life since Fidelity, since like 2017, has been sort of building that stuff out. The bar was really a passion project. Early COVID, a lot of these bars were going under. I was reading a book about the importance of like pubs and taverns and alcohol more broadly in the American Revolution. And that's really a thread throughout like human history. Alcohol has been like quite important during like, paradigm shifts and revolutions. And this was our local dive bar. Like my wife and I used to live 2 blocks away. And we had been in the space for, years and years, a lot of good nights out and memories and stuff. So there was an opportunity, and it was just like, it started as like a stupid idea late one night. And then it was like, let me send an email, let me talk to the landlord. Let me see if I can rope some other people into this. And then starting to talk about it. It really took off. So there's a great conference coming up actually in Jackson Hole, the Bitcoin Ski Summit.
Yeah, Amanda's,
Amanda Cavalieri. She's fantastic. The first one last year, my wife and I went to, and we started talking about, Pubkey and this idea. And a very good friend of mine who's also involved with Pubkey, Drew Armstrong, is president at Cathedra Mining. I was talking to him and his partner, AJ, another partner at Cathedra, president at Cathedra. And I thought Drew was going to light himself on fire. He started to like levitate, basically. And he's like, this is the best thing. Like, we need this. He started talking about third places. I had never heard of third places before. And like, he just starts like, waxing philosophical about the importance of Pubkey coming to fruition. And that's really what like, kicked it off. And, Megan was like, my wife was, I guess we got to do it. Like, if that's the level of excitement that we're going to get from that core base, if we can marry that to the neighborhood dive bar that already is successful in its location, then maybe we got a stew going and can do something cool for Bitcoin.
When you tie something to Bitcoin, you get a incremental shift in everything. So
Yeah,
football clubs, right? They in non-league where we are, they struggle because their revenue comes from how many local people they can get through the door,
yeah,
how many pints they can sell on a day, and how many local sponsors they can get.
sure.
Whack a Bitcoin logo on it, you become the Bitcoin club. Suddenly you've got people all around the world buying shirts and jerseys.
Sure.
You've got people making appeal. We got 12 people coming to our game against Holmer Green from Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, it's a cheat code.
Yeah,
it's a total cheat code.
Total cheat code. And then you get Bitcoin sponsors who spend more money.
Yeah,
And football is all about who has, it's 70% the budget, 30% everything else, right?
yeah,
If you have the budget, you're in contention. If you don't have the budget, you're not in contention.
Yeah.
That's a massive fluke.
yeah,
And so we have the budget now.
yeah,
Our cheat code gives us that incremental outperformance of all the other teams at our level.
yeah,
And the same, hopefully, for your bar, my bar, is that it's already a successful bar, but maybe it gives me another 20, 25% with various things, events, workshops I put on.
Sure. I mean, Bitcoiners more broadly are kind of like collectors, right? So just by putting something out that is, relational to Bitcoin, you'll have people pop up. So we got custom tap signers from CoinKite, from Rudolfo and team, and they're fantastic. And we slapped on the hot dog, artwork that we have for Pubkey. And we have people in the chat and on Twitter just reaching out from, God knows where, just saying, can you ship these? Right? And somebody's trying to collect all of the tap signers, all of the Sats cards, the cold cards that they make. And, when you have that baseline for, like going out and doing a thing and knowing that there's going to be, a certain amount of it right off the top, just as collectibles for this, like, fan base effectively. It goes a long way to doing that thing, to getting it started and to taking like the leap.
The other interesting thing about it is, again, I keep comparing it to the football club, but if you come to our football club and you just want to watch a game of football, you might not even know there's anything to do with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You just come in, you buy a program, you have a drink, maybe you read something in the program, oh, all these sponsors seem to say Bitcoin. But like, we don't force it down people's throats.
Yeah.
Come enjoy the football.
Yeah.
And sometimes before a game, we have a meetup, so you can come to that. But we don't force it down people's throats. Same going into Pubkey. You could go in there and not know this is a bunch of Bitcoiners.
Yeah, most people do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the difference between identity and DNA, is sort of how I've phrased it before. Because it's, it's a special thing when somebody comes in, they pay in Bitcoin, and they go through sort of the ritual of getting out the separate POS, and it's the Zeus wallet, which has like an awesome like user interface. And you'll have people like a couple barstools down, just sort of like looking over, like, what the fuck is that?
What's going on there?
Yeah.
Do you get people asking and talking about it?
All the time. What's with the Bitcoin stuff?
Have you orange peel people in the bar?
All the time.
Sweet, man.
All the time.
This is why we need more of this.
I mean, look, the bit license, thanks to current NYDIG employee Ben Losky, is not doing us any favors. We'd like to be able to do more, but
how does that hold you up?
Well, I mean, it'd be nice to buy and sell Bitcoin in the bar, right? What if we had a little like Western Union window or something like that? Even a Bitcoin ATM calls into question like way more than I think we can handle like right now, because we're smashing together two of the most heavily regulated businesses in New York City, right? A liquor license plus Bitcoin. And, the liquor license and the bar are by far the most important, right? That's the bedrock, and that like keeps this going. So we have to be cautious on the Bitcoin side. So a lot of the articles that came out, like the Bloomberg article, pulled some punches in terms of like Bitcoin bar doesn't accept Bitcoin. It's like, well, not yet. Like we just opened. Like we're figuring this out.
They always want to find a way to attack.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that update. They gotta revise aspects of that article.
They're not going to do that.
I don't think they are.
Fuckers, man.
It's okay.
Well, look, I love it. I think it's so cool.
Thank you.
Do you think there'll be other Pubkeys open? Would you franchise it out?
Yeah, we're expanding. Probably Q3 of this year. We have a couple of locations that we're already starting to scout. A couple of different cities that we're already looking at.
I was going to say other cities, because if you do here, it just cannibalize one to the other, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because the incremental stuff is the events. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, we're already hitting somewhat of, we're sort of testing how much of the, Bitcoin like community can sort of withstand. Like if we're doing events 5 days a week, like we're not getting people 5 days a week coming out. Like, once a week is already like kind of ambitious. And every Monday night we have something. So we have a mining monthly. We have a lightning monthly starting up. We have a shitcoin chicanery where we'll talk about other projects and use that as like a way to show the differentiation with Bitcoin. And then a grab bag. So on Monday, February 20th, we have the Bitcoin Policy Institute as the first like mystery grab bag one. And that'll be like regulation, policy, arts and culture, whatever. But we'll see how it goes. So far, those have been exceptionally well attended. Like we've gotten 50 to 60 just for, updates for, network hash rate difficulty, current events, Q&A, a little bit of gossip, a little bit of shit talk. And they're fun events. It was a lot like last night. Last night was incredible.
Last night was great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
It was just so weird, like sitting down there, and it was like almost like a little bit emotional seeing Rich Roll there. He's like my guy who got me into podcasting.
Sure.
Luke Martin, who was episode 1, and Luke flew in for it. I was like, I was like, so cool you're in the city. It's like, no, I come in for this. I was like, what?
That's special. That's very cool.
He was like, yeah, I saw it, and I wanted to come in, and I haven't seen you in a while, so he flew in from Indy, and here we are. And there was a bunch of cool people there. Some I won't name because they probably don't want to be doxxed, but like it was a good crowd.
Yeah, very.
And I think it speaks towards, I think I'm starting to prefer these smaller kind of things than the big events.
Yeah, I agree. The same with conferences. That's why I really like.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but even the smaller conferences, like Honey Badger in Riga, probably my favorite. Jackson Hole Ski Summit, phenomenal. And they're like these more like smaller, intimate events where you have some other things going on. I still like, you got to go to Bitcoin Magazine. Of
course, man.
Because it's just a massive shit show, and it's cool to have that different look. But, it's nice to have something that's a bit more permanent, where people can sort of like pop in and out, like a pub.
What are going to be the additional challenges of having multiple bars? Are you going to have to find like someone per city to own it?
Yeah, definitely. Quality control. So one thing we've been toying with is making the content studio sort of what links each one of the locations, but having each one of the locations be like hyper localized. So in New York, it should look like a classic New York dive bar. If it were like London, it should look like a classic English pub. Or if it's, in, I don't know, Montana, it should look like a roadhouse.
If it's in Bedford, it should look like a shithole.
I don't know. That place looks pretty awesome that you showed me.
Dude, honestly, it's the best. I cannot wait. If I get it, I think I get it on the 6th of April.
Very cool.
Which is very cool because we're running our end of season events 14th, 15th, 16th of April. I wish you could come out. I'm sure you probably can't.
I could try. We'll see. It's a negotiation with my wife. We got 2 little ones, so it's,
Can't have a family trip?
a juggle. We could do that. Careful what you wish for. My youngest is a absolute wrecking machine.
How old?
2.
Brings us the football. You say to your wife, I'm taking you on a holiday to the UK. We're going to London? No, we're going to Bedford.
We're going through London.
Yeah, we'll land there. But yeah, so hopefully I get it about 8 days, 9 days before then, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, that's super cool.
I'll have Danny behind the bar.
Yeah.
As if you don't have enough to do.
Yeah, if I don't, at least I've got a job for my fucking son now.
Yeah, Drew.
Yeah, he can work now, Connor. Yeah, poor lad. So he's I love him, but he's an artist.
Okay.
So he comes with all the qualities of an artist.
Okay.
Which is does what he wants when he wants. And he came back for a week but wasn't working. And I've got building work being done in my garden.
Okay.
And so I've made him work the whole week with the builders. I'm paying him to work.
How's it going?
He's done all right.
Okay,
He's
good.
very tired.
There we go.
Yeah, he's picked up a shovel. He's very tired.
How old?
He's 18.
Nice.
He's really, really, he's such a nice human.
Nice. That's great. They're special.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got this just like very good soul. He's very good decision maker in terms of how he should be towards other people. And he's a great kid. He's just fucking lazy, but he's an artist. Yeah, he's an artist. Do you know what he's been doing this week? It was kind of interesting. I said to him, like, you're in this lucky position. If you want to start a company, like, I can help you. I'll invest. 1, 2, I've got experience. I can help you. And 3, like, why don't you just do like a t-shirt business because you're an artist. And I've got 500,000 followers on Twitter, so just do like a limited run of 10. We'll probably sell them. And do you know what he did? He's been designing t-shirts this week as well.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah. I was about to say, if you got that offer when you were 18, I mean, if I got that offer when I was 18, I'd probably just fumble it immediately.
Of course. No,
I'd even put that to like 28, 29. If I got that offer, I'd still be like, what do I do with this?
He's probably like, yeah, Dad, I want to get back to Leeds. Speaking of which, I don't know, what day is it today?
Friday.
So how do you exit a franchise, man? Because that's one of the challenges. If you build this up, it's you don't really end up selling a chain of bars called Pubkey.
Well, could. I don't think we'd ever want to sell like the New York one, but I think it comes down to sort of the platform, right? And the combination of the in-person, live events, live streaming that, and we're going to phase into it, right? We'll start broadcasting some of the meetups that we do and the Q&As. And it's this middle ground, right? So we have like BitDevs in New York, which is fantastic, technical meetup. Jay, who runs it, is, I think, one of the most underappreciated Bitcoin heroes across the ecosystem. And then we have a lot of like network events, right? Like too business focused, a lot of like blockchain and like crypto shit will like sneak into that stuff. And it'll be very business cardy. And there was this middle that was sort of lacking, something that was, informal, casual, and just sort of liked the, shit show that was happening on Twitter. So people want to like talk about, did you see that thing that happened? So it's that middle ground that I think we're sort of like focused on, providing a solution for. And I think linking these things, maybe regionally, right? So in terms of quality control, it'd be much easier if we focus on other great cities like, Philadelphia or DC. I've sort of had my fill of Boston at this point. But if we go, to other big markets like LA, it has a different host of complications, right? How do we get the team to make sure that we're like really ensuring the same level of quality that we've been, really striving for here at the New York location? But that is in the mix. And, we're upstairs above Pubkey. We have a co-working space that, we're still in the midst of finishing. Thanks for your patience on the current state of affairs up here.
This side of the room looks great.
Yeah. Behind the cameras is, it's got some ways. But this will be sort of like a clubhouse, co-working space. And when, folks are in from out of town, business trip, maybe like a European or, Chinese Bitcoin company comes to New York, rather than running around and having like coffee, breakfast, coffee, lunch, coffee, happy hour, dinner, wasting all that time when you're already sort of jet lagged. They can use this as a base of operations. They can, be in sort of like a friendly Bitcoin space. They can have office time up here. They could hold court at the bar. They could do a sponsored content or something like that in the attic downstairs. And we can provide like a lot of that, a lot of those resources for when people are in town. I think if we can have these in a bunch of other cities, that'd be pretty beneficial for those localized communities as well.
Are you going to keep the menu the same in all of them?
That's up for debate. This is the New York menu. We're probably going to bring the chopped cheese and the smash burger and some of the hot dogs for sure. But
can I get the smash burger recipe?
You got to ask chef. I don't know.
All right, man.
It's very. It's a tall order.
I'm telling you, that burger. My favorite burger in this city prior to this week was the one at the burger joint in the Park Meridian. Have you had that?
Oh yeah,
fucking great burger.
We shred that burger.
I say it competes. I say the best. When I was in LA, I looked up. How old are you?
38.
Yeah, you might know this. Whenever we travel, me and the kids, whatever city we Google best burger in the city, and in LA it's a smash burger, and it's a place called Burger She Wrote, which I just think is the best. Do you know Murder She Wrote?
I mean, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I just thought it was the best name. I'm telling you, your burger kills theirs.
Thank you.
Kills their burger.
Thank you.
How many have we had?
One a day for 5 days?
Yeah.
At least.
Have you had a chopped cheese?
I had a chopped
You
cheese.
did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Chopped cheese.
What's the deal with the chopped cheese?
Chopped cheese is like a bodega sandwich specific to New York.
What does that mean?
It's, bodegas like corner stores, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, egg sandwiches in the morning. A chopped cheese is basically it's like a New York version of a Philly cheesesteak, but like far superior to a Philly cheesesteak.
Far superior.
Far superior.
Look at that. This guy's going to challenge that. This guy's from Philly, man.
I know. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Right. I think I might have to have one of those before we leave because I need something to soak up this fucking alcohol, man. It's killing me. In terms of the kind of events and things you're doing here and the people you're bringing in, you should definitely like shill it right now.
Yeah.
You should just like anyone listening say, if you're coming to New York, do this because I think we end up building this network. You mentioned the Commons in Austin, Bitcoin Park, but actually El Salvador's one, the football club is one, Bitcoin Lake's one in Guatemala. Like this, they're like a network of nodes.
Reciprocity.
Yeah.
We're building this network. It's like these these nodes almost. Bitcoin John in Philly also coming along really nicely. A great meetup there.
Bitcoin
John. I don't know. It's a Philly thing. John?
Yeah. I was going to say, because a John is a toilet.
I think it's JAWN, and you can use that word as filler for like it can represent anything. It's Philly's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a little weird.
Fuck the Cowboys for all my Philly fans. But yeah, I like this network works. Firstly, we come in.
Yeah.
We cross over with you guys. We're here, but like, shit it. Who do you want to hear from? Who should be coming into town? Who should be contacting you?
Bitcoiners, famous ones, non-famous ones, anons on Twitter, really whoever. And we also want to open this up. We want to make it as accessible for non-Bitcoiners. I think that I agree with John Sith. You have to go through your shitcoin phase to get to Bitcoin. We get a lot of shitcoiners coming in and talking about we want to do special events for this and that. And it's like, we keep it, pretty specific to Bitcoin. And we are hopefully going to be a mechanism for them to, progress along that journey that John Sith was talking about last night. But every Monday we do something here. We have special guests. So the first mining meetup we had Edward and Daniel, formerly of Brains. They have a new project together that they're working on that I don't think is public quite yet. But two of the best possible first guests that we could have had from the mining industry. The second one was Amanda Fabiano and Brendan from Galaxy's mining team.
Right.
Also fantastic. And these are packed houses, and we're gonna roll out, like I said, the Lightning meetup and the other ones, and we're just gonna continue to sort of like methodically build that base as we go. But tonight we have the NYC Bitcoiners meetup, just a very casual.
What time does that start?
That starts at like 4:30. So the Waste Slice is coming in. He now like runs that meetup. Love a Waste Slice. He does the Bitcoin beefsteaks. And we have a exclusive dog of the day just for the New York City Bitcoiner meetup.
What have you got? What's the dog of the day?
I think it's a Cuban dog or something. I don't know. Maybe the El Perro. I don't know. It's going to be good, whatever it is.
It's also restored my faith in Bitcoin in New York. We were having less and less reason to come here because there was less people to talk to, less going on.
Yeah.
I felt like the Bitcoin scene in New York was dying.
Yeah.
I felt like people were leaving. They were going to other cities. Well, they were. I know. I can think of at least 3 or 4 people have left.
Marty went to Austin. Matt went to Nashville. Like there was definitely a bit of significant loss going into COVID.
Yeah. And last trip we did, we went to Brooklyn. We didn't leave Brooklyn. We didn't even come to Manhattan.
Yeah.
We did a few days of shows. We were struggling to get guests. And... when I was coming in for this, I was excited because of Pubkey, right?
Yeah.
But I was still like, the Bitcoin scene's dying here. It's like, I think you guys have single-handedly turned that around.
Thank you.
You've given people, but it's a reason to come back now.
It's not us. We just provided the space. Like, the community hasn't left.
It's more than just providing space. You've got to put graft into this.
Yeah.
You've got to market it.
It's not in my DNA. Not like the shit coining. It's foreign to me. I'm uncomfortable talking about.
Well, I will say it for you. I know the hard work's gone in, but I'm saying that you've restored it. I think.
Thank you. That means a lot. Look, it never really left. There was a good base. Again, to credit Jay and his work with BitDevs in New York and the Socratic Seminar and the White Paper Wednesdays. Like, Uncle Zach kept that alive. Uncle Zach is a mainstay fixture at Pubkey and part of like the original team as well in many ways. He hosted BitDevs when COVID knocked out any place, right? In his apartment, he opened it up. And those New Yorkers never left. The only thing that's been proclaimed dead more than Bitcoin is New York City. And Bitcoiners are definitely still here.
Yeah, well, it's turned cool. I mean, I'd been ragging on New York the last few times.
That's okay.
It's not the same. There's not as many places to eat. Worried I'm either going to get shot or stand in a shit. Like, everything smells of weed. The entire fucking city. You get off the plane, you get in the Uber, you get to Manhattan, you get out and you spend your entire week, all you can smell is weed.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe how a city can just smell of weed.
Well, they just cracked down. So we're a block away from Washington Square Park. And until they opened up the dispensaries a couple of weeks ago, that was just lined with tables. Each like, their own sort of like, I don't know, gray market, black market, like, cannabis dealer, effectively. So the whole of Washington Square Park was just a plume for a while. And that just got cleaned up because obviously they want to, funnel some of the tax revenue through the dispensaries, and they're cracking down on the vape shops and the others, throughout the city. But yes, it's present.
You can't get flavored vapes here in New York. I know, but you can, but you can't. So I discovered that because I came and I was like, I was asking, I want weird flavors like strawberry milkshake or some pathetic flavor. Some pathetic. Look at this one. Look at the fucking check this one I've got out. I think this is like donut candy.
Yeah.
This is advertising for kids, man.
Men have gone from Marlboro Reds to give me a cranberry custard, please.
I'll tell you a Marlboro Red story, right? Have you met Kurt, who does the films with us? You met Kurt, right? So Kurt's the DP who works on our films.
Okay.
Really fit, healthy guy. He does jiu-jitsu, and he's built. He's just a fucking cool guy, but like looks after his fitness.
Yeah.
All right, calm down, B. No, he does. He just looks like I'm trying to set the scene. This is a guy who looks after him. Anyway, we go to make this last film in Texas about Bitcoin mining. Anyway, he's like, "Oh, I'm going for a cigarette." I was like, "You what?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I've started smoking." So you're like 30. What do you mean you started smoking? It's like, well, I used to smoke weed and I don't want to smoke weed anymore. So I just have the odd cigarette instead. I was like, okay. Anyway, guess out, a pack of Marlboro Reds. I was like, you've just started smoking. You're straight on the Marlboro Reds. Yep, straight out. Okay. Off the bat.
Commitment.
Fair play.
Yeah, Kurt, if you're listening, sorry to dog you on that.
Don't do it halfway.
Yeah. But anyway, I prefer my cotton donut candy. But anyway, so I went in and I was like, oh, have you got like strawberry fucking milkshake or something? It was like, and this dude was like, no, we only have tobacco flavored. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we're not allowed to sell flavored vapes in the cities. I was like, oh shit. He's like, but are you a cop? I was like, no, I'm not a cop. He's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm not a cop. He's like, okay, I've got a secret stack of flavors. And he brings out a box and says, you can still get them, obviously.
Yeah.
You still get them. Are you a cop?
New York's not dead.
New York is not dead.
It's just changing. It's a hard place to stay if you want what New York was, whatever decade or whatever. Because it's just a brutal pace of change in this city.
Yeah, what do you think of Eric Adams? He came in, I think he grifted the Bitcoin thing.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we haven't heard from him yet. We've done some outreach. There are a lot of problems in New York, right? I think there was also sort of like a push towards this stuff. SBF was deploying a lot of capital for politicians, so maybe a lot of politicians were sort of signaling that they would be interested in some of that as well. Either from SBF or others in the crypto space that we're going to be deploying into political donations. Maybe that has sort of, fallen by the wayside with, the collapse of the crypto market. And I don't think Bitcoiners were really doing that much, right? We got some activity obviously El Salvador and Samson's thing, but I don't think it's been terribly localized in the U.S. Beyond the great work of Coin Center and Bitcoin Policy Institute and those guys. But we got a big rat problem. We have a rat czar in New York City.
Rat czar.
A rat czar.
Sounds like the name of a cool band.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to go and see Rat Czar? They're playing Pubkey tonight. Yeah, fuck.
So maybe it's a product of both of those things. Maybe, there's a little bit less, value in pursuing Bitcoin and crypto right now. There's also the NYDFS leads the charge for tightening the screws on any, Bitcoin or crypto intermediary.
DFS?
The New York Department of Financial Services. Okay. So that's where Ben Losky was the superintendent or commissioner of. And they, rolled out the bit license back in 14, 15, like that.
Fuck you, Ben.
It was a truly suboptimal piece of legislation. It was duplicative. I mean, we already had money service and money transmitter, and then to layer on that third one was another reason why I think a lot of Bitcoiners and Bitcoin companies have shied away from New York City. So,
Yeah, but dude, it was a layup for himself.
Oh, very much.
It was a literal layup for himself. He
went to Ripple after that.
Well, no, didn't he in between? Didn't he set up a consultancy to help people
Sure.
navigate the bit license?
Sure.
It's like he literally creates a license and then the company to help you complete the license.
Correct.
It was a layup for himself. Go fuck yourself, Ben Lowski.
And then he worked for Ripple for quite a bit. And, it's not great. And one thing that I am disappointed to see is, Bitcoin companies that go through the process to get the bit license quite enjoy having it because it creates this regulatory moat and this level of protection. There's the banking playbook with, the legal risk compliance stuff. It keeps, innovation at bay.
What else needs to be sorted out here in New York? What else would you fix?
You said there was a rat czar and then just moved on. Oh, yeah. Like that's not a thing we need to know. What is that?
We have a real rat problem. I don't know why, but it's something that has been in the news quite a bit lately.
Not in your kitchen.
No, we have zero in Pubkey and also in my personal kitchen.
And you would murder them if you did.
Of course.
We have we discovered we had a mouse problem at the football club. Because we had the electrics went,
okay.
And it turned out the mouse was chewing through the wire.
Okay.
So we had a mole problem.
Moles
in the football pitch.
Okay.
Coming up and just creating holes, and we had to kill them. I felt really bad.
Yeah.
Catch them and kill them.
Yeah, it's like Caddyshack.
Yeah. So how big is this rat problem? You say you have a rat problem.
Pubkey does not have a rat problem.
I know Pubkey doesn't have a rat problem. By the way,
we have no rats whatsoever. No, look,
but very tasty burgers.
What, rat burgers?
The rat burger. The smashed rat burger.
On one of the so we have the wheat paste in the bathrooms, and one of them has it's the dirty dogs, and at the end it's like no rat, and then apostrophe, okay, maybe a little rat at the problem.
People have been drawing all over those, haven't they?
Yeah, which is exactly what we wanted. So we'll refresh those maybe like once a quarter or once every 6 months with like completely new like styles. So we'll probably have the same three, but either a completely new style or sort of like a reimagining of those, and then we'll just paste them right up.
Have you not seen the videos of the rats on the subway?
No.
Pizza Rat? Pizza Rat's a celebrity.
They're fucking big.
They're quite large. I think
Yeah, big rats.
the Norwegian like brown rat, I think we have. They're Norwegian.
And is it like a citywide problem? It's just a
Yeah,
subway?
very much so.
Like how do they deal with that?
I don't think that. I think the czar needs to get to work.
Come on, Rat Czar.
Come on, rat czar.
Who's the Rat Czar? I hope they have a really cool name. You need a cool name to be a Rat Czar.
Yeah,
It's going to be Kevin. Kevin the Rat Czar. What else? What else is going on in the city?
Well, I don't know. I think it's coming out of COVID still. Hospitality is still struggling a little bit. Like we were bracing for, January and February are supposed to be historically slow. Just a really hard grind for all bars and restaurants and hotels to get through. We had a good pop, right? So we had, the Bloomberg article, the Eater article. We opened at the right time. We were a bit of like a service hospitality industry bar after hours. And we have had like a lot of these events that have really like clicked for us during what was supposed to be a really rough stretch. So we were very, very fortunate. But I think, it can't be understated how difficult it is for a lot of other businesses in hospitality throughout the city still. Like, tourism definitely has not come back yet. The holiday season wasn't what it like used to be in the pre-times. Some of it was self-inflicted. Like New York got hit very hard, very early. But I think that we sort of held on to some of the COVID policies a little bit longer than needed.
I was meant to come out here for my daughter's birthday a year ago. She was going to turn 12, so it's just before her birthday. We booked to come out. I was taking her to see Billie Eilish at Madison Square Garden. Her and her best friend.
Nice.
Booked the flights, the accommodation, the tickets, which weren't fucking cheap.
Yeah.
Anyway, turns out that Madison Square Garden would not let you in unless you were vaccinated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was any age.
Yeah.
I didn't want my daughter to get... I'm vaccinated. I didn't want my daughter to get vaccinated. Even if I wanted to, you couldn't get vaccinated in the UK if you were under 12.
Yeah.
So it got to about a week, 2 weeks before, and it's like, we can't fucking go.
Yeah.
We can get to New York, but we get there and we're not allowed in the venue.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing? So you've just cost... That's one example of a group of 5 people who would come in who could not come.
Yeah. It was panic. It hit New York pretty hard. Like we had just like shipping containers as like makeshift like mortuaries for a period of time.
They brought in a hospital ship, didn't they?
Yeah. So it was panic, and that was in like the really early days where we didn't know if kids were getting infected. Yeah. And we didn't know what was coming out of other countries. For before Hash Function, I ran a fund, small fund, myself and 2 other partners, called Hodl Capital, and we had planned. One of them is Eric Voskel, who does work
love
on.
Eric.
Eric is a very dear friend.
Underrated Bitcoin. I wish we heard more from him.
He's great. He's cranking away on LibBitcoin.
Yeah,
major progress, and I do what I can to help the LibBitcoin project as well. I think alternative implementations and diversity of core development teams is really important, and it's really Eric. It's LibBitcoin and Bitcoin Knots, right? Like Loopcash. And I think LibBitcoin is making real progress. Thanks, to Eric and his team. But anyway, we had a conference scheduled in. It was really Eric's conference that I was helping with.
The Vietnam one.
Yeah, the crypto econ one.
Yeah, I really wanted to go.
Oh my god, it looked amazing. Eric was there weeks earlier. Another partner in Singapore was like, "It's fine, you can come. This is not a big deal. Like, you're not going to get corona, but you might get the flu. You can't get the flu. If you get the flu, they're going to throw you in quarantine. It's going to fuck the entire trip." And it's like, okay. And then he calls back like 3 days later and is like, cancel everything. You should not come. And we lost like most of the speakers, but it was still very well attended. I think, the capacity was like 100 people. We still had like 80 local. And I called in, from 3 a.m. to do my little presentation as part of the conference. And it was still good. But, thinking back to that level of panic and how it ramped here, like I can understand where some of the misguided policies that I think we hung on to way too long in New York City, like where it came from. But we're still like working through like some elements of that.
I mean, I understand. I mean, I had a bad initial reaction. I was like, yeah, lock us down. Fucking sort it out. I did an interview with a doctor who a friend of mine I went to school with. He said to me, he said it was weird, Pete. He cried during the interview, actually. Like, I always remember that. He said, we had a couple of people walking, and then within a few hours, it was a trickle. And within 24 hours, we had to, I think it was 24 hours, 48, I mean, I can't remember what he said, but we had to declare an emergency. And he said people were coming in, they couldn't breathe, and people were dying. And I think I understand the strong reaction to begin with. It was when we started to learn what this was really about that people refused to walk it back. And America was a great lens for this because we'd come over to make the show and we would go to New York and see all the restrictions. And then we'll go to Texas and see no restrictions and nobody with a mask. And Texas was flourishing. And so you could identify. I think, and that's the problem with politicization of things here in the US. You could see that Texas understood very early on and changed its policies in the right way.
Yeah,
and other people didn't.
It could have been accidental, right? It could be cultural. The reasons why Texas and Florida approached it in what I think was probably a better way than like some other ones might have been somewhat accidental. But I think letting go of a lot of this stuff is difficult for people. You still see some kids recess outside masked up.
I know.
Working through the anxiety, like it's very difficult. And I think this is a global problem. There's not a lot of mental health support. And when I see stuff like that, it's very sad to see. It's like, letting go of that fear and anxiety and those nerves. Like there's a reason to do it. And look, maybe some people are very high risk and that is, something that makes them, feel better, that there is like a layer of protection. But I think that there are probably a segment of the population that's still holding on to, that fight for anxiety around COVID.
There is that. Also, it's hard to admit you were wrong.
Very much so.
Which I personally had to walk back on a few things over the years, but like it's very hard. It's hard at first, and when you do it, it's actually very cathartic.
Yeah.
I encourage people to do it. If you got something wrong, come out and be public and say it. You'll be surprised how much support you get from people, what a weight it lifts off your shoulders.
Sure.
What can we do to help you, man?
Pubkey, let's look, we loved having you all week. It was really special. The people that you had come in to interview, sticking around, being at the bar. I also love this stuff. My wife and friends are tired of hearing me talk about Bitcoin, and this is really a vessel for me to make new friends and connect with old friends in the industry. It's special to have people coming through, and if they're presenting or just having a beer and hot dog at the bar, like it's pretty cool. But yeah. We'd love to collab on anything in the future. How we can help your bar, how we can help Bedford. We need a supporters club here.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that would be great to have a supporters club here. We would support that. Send you. I've got something for you.
Oh.
Do you want a live on set present?
Sure.
I've got 2 things for you for your bar. Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Glad I just remembered that.
Your wife's sick of you talking about Bitcoin, and then you came on a Bitcoin podcast and didn't talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah. I'd like to come back on and talk about hash function at some point. We'll do like a hash rate market podcast, but this also happened on Crypto Voices. Like, we were having a great conversation. It ended up being more about some of like, macro. It's a macro podcast, but we got into Pubkey, we got into hash rate markets, and it's like, we don't have enough time here.
So this isn't me leaving Bedford thinking, oh, I should bring something for Thomas. This was me packing up this morning thinking, oh, I should give these to Thomas. So this is, here we go. So you might want to put an iron over that, but you hang that up behind the bar.
That's excellent.
But this is for your match days.
Excellent.
So you've now got a Rail Bedford flag. Thing about this flag is, this is the one I has traveled around with me. So it's not special, but it is dirty.
That makes it special.
So, but that's for the bar. Like
it's been traveling. This is great. Thank you.
This is what I need to get out to the Supporters Club. There's one in, I think it's Minneapolis. There's about 10 of them who get together for like every game.
Really?
Yeah. So
it's the time zone is a little hard because we don't open until 1, but we could, as we open up upstairs, we want to have a little bit more co-working space in downstairs, coffee, pastries, things like that.
Yeah.
Like we'll be open for the games at that point.
I think if it become a regular thing, people would come regularly. I think, get it behind it. I think it helps maybe, well, I thought it would help when we were in the city.
It was a Tuesday.
Yeah, but like it's either going to be 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I guess if we're in the city, it's 10 a.m. on a Saturday, people will come out.
Yeah.
They'll come out.
For sure.
Well, listen, I will definitely be picking your brain on the bar. If you become the supporters club in New York for this, that would be great.
Sure.
Anything we can do for you, can give us a shout. We've loved being here. Your team are amazing.
Thank you, brother.
It's going to sound really kind of pathetic, but it kind of felt like home straight away.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear
It's
that.
like that Cheers thing. Obviously,
Sure.
Cheers.
Yeah.
It just felt like home straight away going in there. Everyone was cool. Everyone was great. And so thank you so much for your hospitality. We will be back.
That's awesome.
And we will do something again when we're here.
That sounds great. It was great having you guys here. Thank you so much.
Do we want to pimp anything else?
Just Pubkey for now.
Pubkey, man. All right, man. Thank you. Good luck. Congratulations.
Thank you.